Hi there. These lesson plans also contain a ton of small group activities for your students to use in class. They can work with partners or small groups, any way that you want to use them. They are student-centered, purposeful talk opportunities, totally done, and they're specific for each grade level and for each unit. It's also never the same thing too often. There's always something different. I provide so many ways to get kids engaged and involved in the lessons, and those activities are specifically laid out in the lesson plans. We know that research shows that students learn best when they can see and hear and teach each other, and so my small group activities all throughout every single unit, every single grade level of lesson plans are here to make sure that that happens in your classroom regularly. And I've made it so easy for you because I've included all the rigorous high-level questions in the form of discussion task cards and charts and different things like that that you can easily print and cut apart for small groups. In fact, if you have a sub one day, or if you just don't feel like using small group strategies, those same activities can easily be used as recording sheets for independent work if you want to go that way. So let's go ahead and dive in. Here's an example of one from my 7th grade unit, my narrative reading and writing unit. You can tell because up here in the upper right corner, you see where it says narrative reading and writing unit. But this allows for partner read-alouds. It gives instructions for the students to follow, and it tells them exactly what they're looking for when they're reading each other's finished narrative essays. And so the types of activities I provide are creative, they are student-centered, and they're never repeated too closely together. Here's another activity from a different 7th grade unit from, I think it looks like it's from the expository unit. But you can see there's a website. So as a teacher, you can go to the website, you can print the article that you want to use with your students, or if your students have their own smartphone devices, or if you have iPads in your classroom, the students could also simply scan the QR code there and get to the article. But this one walks students through exactly what they're looking for in the article, and then it also continues. So the point here is that the students can work independently, but then it continues to where they get to work together with a partner or with a small group, as is displayed at the bottom of the page in their instructions. Here's an example of small group discussion task cards that go with that activity that you just saw, the one with the article and the QR code. And so this is an example of how, as a teacher, you could cut these apart and have students discuss them in small groups. And then you could have them respond to each question in writing. You could have them respond to certain ones that you choose. You could even do something like this. Imagine cutting apart these cards. Let's see, we've got, what is that? 10 cards, 10 questions. If you have 30 kids in your class, you could just make 3 copies. That's it, 3 copies of what you see here on this page. You could cut them out and just pass them out so that each student focuses on only one question. Think of how in-depth you could have your students go with just one question. You could give them a few minutes to write, and then you could have them get up, move around the room, and find the other 2 kids, assuming you have a class of 30, you could have them find the other 2 kids that also have the same question, and then have them share their responses. Look at the depth you could do with just that one activity from a small group discussion task card assignment. Here's another one. This is from an 8th grade unit on tone. Again, at the upper right-hand side, you can tell it's meant for small groups and partners because it says so. And so this allows students to work together in a fun, creative way to practice using tone in writing. And then there's an actual follow-up activity that goes with it. And finally, there's an independent practice activity. So you go from the small group element to the independent element, and it tells the students exactly what to do here. Also, notes for the teacher. I include lots of ideas for extension. That way you can easily differentiate as needed based on the needs of your particular classroom. And really, a teacher could try one method with one class, and you could try another method with another class. So talk about having your differentiated activities already done for you. And another example from an 8th grade unit. So this is just kind of a fun way to practice some basic words. The students always misspell. It doesn't matter what grade level they're in, but I'm just showing you how this can work with some of the grammar elements as well. So students can write their own original word crime using the word incorrectly on purpose, trade papers with a classmate, and then the classmate has to rewrite the sentence using the word correctly. You have to know You have to know the rules before you can break the rules. So that's just kind of a fun way to look at it. So I hope that helps you understand some of the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade small group activities. They really are student-centered. They do allow for purposeful talk. They're totally done for you, and they are unique for every grade level in each unit. I hope that helps you.